Chassidus Music, class number 39. This is the fourth in a series learning a Torah from Likutei Moharan, from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. The fourth and final section, most likely, of learning this very, very special Torah from Rabbi Nachman. We'll see. I sometimes predict it's going to be the final one, and we usually get caught up in a section, getting more deeply in, but we'll see. So we're talking about the power of vocal music, the power to build, the power to create, the power to fix, or the power to destroy. And we concluded last time looking at a Mishnah from Pirkei Avos, Aseh lecha Rav, someone who becomes a master, who's able to fix, so to speak, is able to repair Misakin Malchus, able to repair the kingship, repair a sense of dignity in the world, a sense of positive structure in the world. And Uknei lecha Chaver, and this is connected, this is brought about through Uknei, the Kana, which is the throat, through singing. That's a very powerful thing. And a person can have a lot of power in that way, but nevertheless could also be potentially destructive. Because in their building process, in the power of their music, it's possible that they may cause harm. Because they have the power to build, they also have the power to destroy. So that's why the third part of the Mishnah says, Dan es kol ha'adam l'chav zchus, should judge everybody favorably. So that ensures that when one gains the power through the music, the power to build, the power to repair, they're not going to use it to destroy because they're judging everyone favorably. They're looking at the best and possible. They think positively about others, about the world that they're in. They look for the best in people. And therefore they're looking to build, they're looking to help. Not chas v'shalom, God forbid, to feel zealous, righteous indignation about something that's not up to snuff. So instead of repairing it, one destroys it. So if one has the power, as a singer, has a lot of power to bring about amazing things in the world. And they have a lot of power to lead people, to touch people's hearts, more than instrumental music. Certainly the combination of the two. But vocal music itself, uniquely, unlike instrumental music, has the power to be imbued with the negative forces, which is why, as Rabbi Nachman is about to say, that singers are known to be foolish. Not foolish in the sense of not smart, but foolish in the sense of being short-sighted, of giving into their desires, giving into their arrogance. And this is, unfortunately, something that's very common among singers, and is an aspect of exile. Whereas the power of singing, and the rectified power of singing, we'll find in the times of the redemption, won't have that concern. So let's get into the text. Go to soundheitsrecords.com, Chassidus Music Classes. This is class number 39, and the PDF is a page PDF. It's the page Gimel, in Torah Gimel, and it's the right-hand column, the third paragraph from the top. And the Rabbi Nachman says like this: Bishvil ze meragla b'puma de inshe. So it's because of this, because of the power of singers to build and also to destroy. It's a common saying by people. Achshav, in those times, and even to these times to a certain extent, it's understood this way. Loimar, shachazanim hem shaitim, that singers are foolish. The enum b'nei dea, and they don't have knowledge, they don't have insight. And again, when we're talking about the dangers of singing, we're not just talking about the dangers of singing in a way that someone is singing specifically about harmful or non-kosher things. We're talking about a chazan in a shul that's singing about the holiest things, using the holy words of prayer. But nevertheless, if the prayer is not imbued with das, with a clear intent, positive intention, or either an unclear intention or negative intentions, then the music, the singing, has a potential to be harmful. Because now, in the times of exile, the kingship of holiness is in exile. That's why that song, which is drawn from the place of prophecy, this is the place of intellect and das and focused knowledge, focused thought of the aspect of kingship of holiness, referring to when there's 4 dimensions, the mochin and das: intellect, the focus of that intellect; malchus, which is the structure, the dignity, the ability to affect and have dominion over, to be master of one's domain; and of kedusha, of the holy realms. So of how the holy dimension, the dimension of the divine, is able to have a powerful effect, to have a guiding effect, to have a structuring effect upon reality. With one can have this aspect in themselves with their intellect, their focused intellect, and they're bringing down a positive divine consciousness that's actually having an effect on the world. That's where singing, music comes from in a positive way. It's the place of prophecy, the place of focused and effectual holiness. But now that this, who's in charge, that the holiness of the dominion of holiness, the power for holiness to have control, to be the guiding light of reality, is in exile. It's not able to express its full power. It's often sometimes the opposite, that injustice reigns, and the opposite, unholiness, is the one that takes over, has the final say, it seems, in this world in exile. That's why song has been blemished. So the song that's in this world where unholiness can be in charge, unholiness can have the primary say, then the music is being utilized by that power also, and it's a blemished power. That's why singers tend to be chariots. They tend to be conveyors of this unholy music through their lack of focus, and therefore the unfocusedness enables them to be just a tool of the negativity, or that their focus is specifically on self-aggrandizement or self-serving pleasures. They don't have the power because of this lack of focus, to bring down the music to bring down from the source of holiness, because that's the focused dominion of holiness, the ability for holiness to be the one in charge, to dictate the terms of reality. They don't have the power to do that, even if they want to, even if that's their stated desire. I'm davening, I'm leading prayers because I want to bring holiness into the world, but nevertheless their thoughts are unfocused and maybe even self-focused. They don't have the power, therefore, to reveal that and to cause that, to build that structure in reality with their singing. Right? So they end up doing, chas v'shalom, God forbid, the opposite. And we already spoke about earlier how one can be protected from that potential harm through learning Torah, particularly oral Torah at night. Avla asid, but in the future, in the times of redemption, yis'ala malchus de kedusha, when the dominion malchus, the kingship of holiness, becomes elevated, it becomes primary. V'yeh Hashem lemelech al kol haaretz, and Hashem, who is dictating the terms? It's the divine reality that is being reflected in every dimension of this physical world. Then music will be elevated, and it will be complete. It will be expressing its full power. In a way of focused dominion, kingship of holiness. Because that's the true place of song. It's not a blemished song. It's a true revelation of the song of the divine that's creating and revealing a divine reality in this world. V'zehu, and this is what it says in Psalms, Ki melech kol haaretz. He's the king of all the earth, Elokim, Hashem. Zamru maskil. There's play music with intellect. Ki azai keshiyah Hashem lemelech. Because when Hashem is king, al kol haaretz, over the whole world, v'yis'ala malchus de kedusha, and the kingship of holiness is elevated and revealed, as a zamr maskil. Therefore, the music is going to have a powerful effect. It's going to have an intellectual focus. It's going to be in its true state. Hainu shachazanim hamzamrim yubedas v'seichel. The people who sing, chazanim who sing, singers who sing, or musicians who play, will be able to focus their energy. They're able to focus their music in order to extend and be lined up with that holiness, the reality of holiness. The music will have true power of holiness. Al yedei shisal malchus de kedusha, meaning through it's a cycle that a chazan can actually, through their music, can build, as we said in the last paragraph, can actually build the malchus, can actually bring this about. And once that malchus is built, once that kingship, that the world is reflecting the divine reality, then music is going to start to flow and be accessible in a very powerful way that's integrated, not just emotionally, which music by definition is, but intellectually also. It's going to line up every dimension of a person's being and be connected to even to their prophetic dimension. The music will receive from its source in holiness. This is the focused intellect of the kingship of holiness, as we said above, the place of the prophecy. Everything will be lined up. Music will flow and will be able to express and expand the power. So meaning a lot of people, this is a common theme in discussing the future redemption. It seems like at first glance, or from an armchair understanding of redemption, that redemption is just an end game and everything is perfected and that's it. What else could you do? Game over. Everything is fixed, everything is perfected, boring time, right? So there's many Marmorim, particularly from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, describing how the completion of the revelation of Hashem's kingship and the establishment of that in the world is not an end, it's a beginning. It's a beginning of a grand adventure, of expanding that holiness, of deepening that holiness. Since Hashem is infinite, then our relationship to Him will be infinite. Our relationship to music will be infinite. The potential that we have to utilize music to reveal the depth and dimension of what music can accomplish will never end. We will be able to plumb deeper and deeper depths. And that's the contrast between the times of Geula, which the Rebbe also says that those are the times that we're in. This idea that chazanim are foolish is an idea of exile. We could start moving past that, right? Those of us who may have struggled as lead singers with improper intentions, with arrogance, we're capable of moving past that. Those we encounter that have that, it's not so strong anymore. And we can help mentor them, or we can, through a positive influence, bring out the humility and the true purpose of music. And that's, I think, if any sensitive musician can look around today, and especially look at the recent history of music, and see that in recent years, decades, it has been especially talking about pop music or in general, singers have been regarded as prima donnas, as to be arrogant individuals. And nowadays, just as a musician, knowing other musicians, of course, it's still possible. We're still not in the full redemption to have singers who are prone to that kind of arrogance. But in my personal experience, and you can let me know if your experience is the same or different, that musicians and singers tend to be more humble. They tend to be more aware of their personal limitations and aware of the power of the music, and allow themselves much more to be a channel for the music. That's what I've noticed among Jews and non-Jews. Music in all forms. That's what I've noticed, and I see this as a positive sign of redemption. So we continue and conclude this Torah, this beautiful Torah from Rabbi Nachman, right? So he says in the next paragraph, Shaykh La'el. So regarding what we talked about above, right? We've brought a lot of different ideas, very coherent ideas regarding the power of music to build, the power to destroy, how to protect oneself against the destructive influence, how, right, both by learning Torah at nighttime and also as a musician who has a rav, who has a mastery over music, over singing, to make sure you have that peace. Dan es kol ha'adam l'chav schus. Judge everyone favorably. Bring out that inner love, the heart of Avraham, the caring for others, the unconditional, unbridled, unlimited caring for others, and through one's music. And that is going to have the ultimate, that's going to balance, going to take the power of the music and connect it with love and concern for others' well-being and well-being of the world. And that will ultimately be the perfect formula for a musician who can truly reveal the redemption, can truly transform the world in a positive way. He says like, Zehu ki gadol me'al shemaim chastecha, because it says also in Psalms, greater than heaven is your kindness, Hashem. Shemaim u'bichinis kol. Heavens, right? If kindness is greater than the heavens. The heavens is the idea of a voice. Kamasha Kalsuv. And as usual, Rabbi Nachman brings a proof for everything. Mishamayim hashmaita kolecha. That from the verse, it says that from heavens, your voice is heard. Right? Speaking to Hashem. So voice is connected with heavens. That's the place where Hashem's voice is heard from. Ki al yedei chesed, that through kindness, hainu b'chinas chutzah chesed animshich, al yedei shalom eter b'layla, that this is a special kind of kindness that's drawn upon a person through learning the oral Torah at night. This is repairs the aspect of voice. Right? It's greater than, the kindness is greater than heaven. It's greater than the aspect of voice, and it therefore can help fix and repair the aspect of voice. This kindness which is drawn down through learning Torah at night. This is what it means, greater than heaven is your kindness. I mean, your kindness, Hashem's kindness, through that we can bring down through learning the oral Torah, has the power to fix, to repair the voice, to make music into what it truly needs to be a conduit for holiness in this world. And this is not, this goes perfectly well with the kindness that we're speaking of in terms of having a positive, kind intention towards others. That learning oral Torah is the way that we learn to be more kind towards others. The person, through their own intellect, their own logic, could figure out a way to be pretty kind, right? But in order to be fully kind, we need to get guidance. We need to get guidance from Torah, guidance from the sages, because sometimes kindness is counterintuitive. Sometimes kindness is not just giving away everything, for example. Sometimes kindness is withholding, right? Sometimes kindness takes strength, right? As, of course, the classic analogy, if a child is crying because he wants to play with a knife, right? It's a foolish and negligent parent who just out of pity for the child gives them the knife to play with, right? This is an analogy that can be applied to many, many things. That sometimes is necessary to withhold for the good of another, right? And this takes wisdom, right? This doesn't take just logical kindness. This takes wisdom, and the wisdom we gain from learning more and more Torah. Obviously, there's dimensions of Torah which we may not understand how to exactly practically apply. There's so much of it, but if we tease out any aspect of Torah, especially with the light of Chassidus, we can learn practical applications to our lives and our approach to things to refine ourselves to the degree where every thought, every word, and every action, certainly every song, every note, is expressing chastechas, expressing Hashem's kindness, which we align our personal kindness with Hashem's kindness through learning Torah, particularly oral Torah, which is able to explain and in a way we can understand the wisdom of the Torah applied practically to our lives. So next paragraph. So these two birds, back to the songbirds, the name of the class, right? So the two birds of holiness from which prophecy is drawn, this is building the structure of Hashem's kingship, of the holiness, the kingship of holiness in the world, right? Of establishing, of creating a world where it's lined up completely with what's true and what's good and what's pure and what's holy. That's why the establishment of a Jewish king is specifically through prophecy. Prophecy is able to establish the kingship of holiness, and therefore a human king that's taking on that role to lead other people in a holy way as a Jewish king is brought about from this place of prophecy. As every king from the house of David was revealed or was given their stamp of approval through a prophet. And Nevuah, prophecy, comes through the cherubs on the cover, the spirit of prophecy, and as it enters the physical world in the era of prophets. Right, which is why the era of prophets, one of the main reasons why the era of prophets ended when the ark went into hiding, because we didn't have that in a revealed way in its proper place, the place of where the prophecy can enter the world, the physical place by which it can enter, which is between the two cherubs on the cover of the holy ark. Right, the cherubs representing the two birds. Shehem binyan malchus to kedusha kanal. This represents, again, the building of the kingship of holiness in this world. And by the way, the Rebbe has an amazing sikha where he talks about that even now, based on a Rambam that he learns out, that even now the holy ark is in its Shlomo Melech said before the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash, of the Aron, which is in its proper place. So now, left-hand column, last paragraph of the Torah, Gimel. Ma'achar alos haviyu, we quoted Tehillim before. We said, from behind, the alos, the nursing lambs, will be brought. Hainu. So what we said that this refers to, right, the nursing lambs, the idea, Hainu ma'achar, hamenikos, so to speak, the ones who give milk. Ki hem yankim l'neviim kulu kanal. So this is referring to where the prophets can nurture from. The nursing lambs represent the place where prophets can nurture, can receive the sustenance of their prophetic visions. Right, from behind, meaning beyond the place of nurture. What does it mean? What does it mean exactly behind the nursing lambs? Hainu, shedavid melech halev shalom hayayachal esakin la'alois gam anagina she'enim ma'adam kasher. So here, achar also means behind, means from the other side, from the realm of negativity. David HaMelech was able to take music from a person who wasn't proper, not a kosher person, a person that did not act properly, did not sing and play with proper intentions. And he could elevate it to Kedusha. He could take that music and elevate it. When he brings from the other side, alos, the nursing lambs, he brings it. Alos also means elevation. It was mentioned before. Haviu, he brings it. He's able to elevate the music from the other side. He's able to reconnect it to the place of the nurture, of the source of prophecy. Hainu, gam anagina shehi me'achar kedusha, meaning even that music, which is on the other side of holiness, meaning on the side of unholiness, from behind the place of nurture, meaning from the other side of nurture, this, the song comes from the place where the prophets nurture from. So we would say alos is the place of the prophets, the nursing lambs. Ma'acher alos is the other side, from the other side of kedusha, meaning the negative side. So King David, he could even elevate such a song. And through this, he's able to build the kingship of holiness in this world. And the pasuk continues that from the other side of the nursing lambs, they're brought in order to shepherd, to pasture in among Yaakov, among the Jewish people. Meaning this doesn't just bringing music in, bringing from a place of prophecy, elevating from the negative side, but this is able to nurture, to shepherd the entire Jewish people. Because as we know, Jewish people come in all stripes, right? The word tzibor, tzadikim, beinonim, urshayim, righteous people, regular people, and wicked people. This creates a tzibor, which is a congregation. And the congregation of Jewish people, each one has their contribution. There are wicked, so to speak, those who nurture from the other side, those who are powerfully nurturing from the other side, those who may be deeply in the negative forces, in the klippas, maybe even in a powerful way that they're expressing music of that other side. And it's the power of a musician, of a musician who's connecting to the side of holiness, to elevate, to help every other Jew elevate, no matter where they're holding. David HaMelech had that power. King David had that power. And Chayalei Beis David, the soldiers in David's army, as the Rebbe Rashab called every chassid, right, which ultimately applies to every Jew, has that power also. When we line up in the army of David, we are given the powers of David. When we line up in the army of the Rebbe, we're given the powers of the Rebbe. The power to elevate, the power to transform, the power to connect to even those who are sunken in the realms of unholiness and help bring them out. And not just bring them out in order that our music should benefit from whatever they're expressing, so ours should be more powerful, but that their unique voice should be transformed to holiness as well. That is the ultimate, the grand tshuva, the grand transformation of the Jewish people happens through music. It happens with the power of David HaMelech. Happens with the power of the Moshe Rabbeinu of every generation. As the Zohar says, Ispashtusa the Moshe b'chol dora v'dora, that every generation has an extension of Moshe. Right? In David HaMelech's generation, it was David. In Shlomo's, it was Shlomo. In the beginning of the times of the Hasidic masters, it was the Baal Shem Tov. Down through every Rebbe, and through the Alter Rebbe, to the Maggid of Mizrich, the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe Marash, whose Yom Hilula, his yahrzeit, his day of passing, was today, Yud Gimel Tishrei. And through the Rebbe Rashab, the Frierdiker Rebbe, and the Rebbe, and each one of us is now carrying out that mission. Baal Shem Tov was told by the soul of Mashiach, the famous story, the famous quote that Mashiach told the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov asked, Me'emasa kasimar, that when will the master come? And the famous part is, the Mashiach answered him, that when your well springs are spread outward. But the less famous part, if you look up that original letter, Mashiach goes on, that's not all he says. He's not just saying when your wellspring is spread outward, but when he said to create Yechudim, we'll be able to do the kind of miracles, the kind of unifications that you can do, Baal Shem Tov. One of the great wonder worker, the Baal Shem Tov, the great Rebbe. When every Jew is able to accomplish that. So every Jew has that ability. We're in the times of Geula. And who has that ability more? The ability to transform hearts and minds. The ability to elevate every individual out of negativity, but a singer, but a musician. So give everyone a blessing as we enter the holiday of the festival of joy of Sukkot and Simchas Torah, that we should bring out joy in our lives through our music. We should share joy. We should nurture, and with Dan L'chav Zchus, with a favorable eye towards every person, to elevate and bring out the best in them, bring out the best in ourselves, and elevate this world to true Zman Simchasenu, the ultimate time of our joy, which is the time of the true and complete redemption. As we say, with abundant singing and playing of music, we bring about the true and complete redemption.